you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead.
Good evening. You are welcome to your favorite show, NTV Men. I'm your host today, Chris. So Peter and his shiny head are out somewhere, and we're carrying on with a very interesting show that we actually didn't finish last week, grooming. Yeah. And most of the listeners were saying, the viewers were saying, look, we need to talk about this and we need the women's perspective. And today we have Marion. Marion, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So what did you really want to say on this show that we hadn't said? We felt like we had said everything about men and grooming. What do women want from men and grooming?
Thank you for the invite. I think the fact that the men were born of a woman, and the men here, at least I know Chris and Colin are married. You have women. It is good to listen to our side, because I didn't follow the show last time, but I heard the viewers saying that if you're talking about something like this, about grooming, then you need a woman on the show. And that is how...
Stefan, do you feel like we need this?
We don't need women for
Oh,
what?
so I woke up.
For what? What do we need
Peter
women
goes
for?
away 1 week like this, and you turn this into a zoo. Let me give some perspective.
Yeah.
I would like to. So, last week, this is what happened. The show started out quite nicely. You know, people talked about. Then it went south when people started talking about excrement, doing number 2 and cleaning. It became a real nightmare. Then we talked about feet. Then we talked about, I think, the mouth cleaning.
No, we actually just touched on it and then ran out of time.
So we touched, we are sort of doing a head, shoulders, knees and toes.
No, I didn't do the knees and toes.
And deodorant. But the really hot issues were around the mouth and
somewhere else.
And somewhere else.
I just want to say, Stefan, what do you feel if a guy asked you what are 5 areas they need to really check, like I need to check, be sure that these 5 areas are good with grooming and hygiene with men?
With grooming.
What would you say?
Okay, the mouth, I think his appearance needs to have
Stefan, if you talk about the 5 areas, start with your head, your hair. If you want it that length, keep it that length. If you want it neat, keep it neat. If you want these guys who are having what they call changwe, where the things are just, you look like you have thorns.
But the trend right now is, you know, that
shaggy,
shaggy,
but you look like you've been threatened by thunder. You know? So if you want that way, keep it that way. Then the mouth,
go on.
then the armpits, then the private area.
The private area.
Private
by
area.
that, what
Front?
do you mean? Like,
I'm still saying private area.
Oh, it's front and back.
And then the feet.
So you're saying that men should manscape?
So
1, 2, 3, 4.
She's talking about
I'm looking for
manscaping,
a fifth.
So I want to ask you. Hair, men's hair. So a lot of men, generally, because of how we are socialized, and so it's a very Eurocentric approach that we have to work. So most Ugandan men will try and keep their hair short so they can comb it. Whereas you find, and that's a very Eurocentric, British, American sort of approach to work. Whereas in West Africa, where you have a lot of Afrocentric approaches, men grow their hair, they grow afros, you know, there's a lot of freedom to grow their hair. Is it a big thing for women? Like, if a guy has hair, is it like I mean, like, my wife definitely doesn't mind that I have dreadlocks. And I've been growing my hair for 3-4 years. But now I find that I have to spend money, like actual money. Like, I'll say, am I drinking this weekend or am I doing my hair? So that's a thing.
the bill is that's the opportunity cost.
Yes. So do women think that, you know, a guy should have clean hair, long hair?
I think, one, it's good you mentioned that your wife loves long hair. But I think if you have hair like that, or like that you like.
My hair is not that long. Why you keep referring to my
It's long in front.
I think it's the way your head is big.
No, it's like a puff, Stefan.
But halfway. Halfway puff. But what I'm trying to say is that if you like the hair, keep it neat and clean. Yeah? Then when I'm approaching you as a woman, I'll appreciate that you're actually clean. You have long hair. smart, it's neat. And have you seen people that have long hair and they don't comb it? They have long hair, and meanwhile these are guys that man like an office, or they have a company, or they are doing those construction things, and they appear in your office, and the hair is all weird. And you're like, but if you have long hair, why didn't you keep it short? If you love
But Marion, you know, speaking about ladies and maybe just get into the attraction bit for, you know, for a bit.
Yeah.
A very wealthy man said that he doesn't mind what his figure is like because his money is his figure. Do women really, like honestly
Really
care
care.
about what men look like, or do they care about the men's wallet?
That varies. Because really, I would love a clean man. The wallet will also be there. But I know that for you to do that, or to make the wallet fat, you also have to look presentable. Yeah? You just have to look presentable. How are you going to make the
The
money?
man said, figure your musaj, this figure your musaj.
Oh yeah, that is
we
the
wallet.
one. That is the one. That is that one in a million, or in 20 or in 10. Honestly, Chris, a smart-looking man can still go and make that wallet fat. Though, that shabby man that you also look at will make the wallet fat. But my dear, when you get out there, have you noticed that sometimes a guy walks into a restaurant, a lady walks into a restaurant with a guy, he has this shirt, it's or whatever, and probably he'll just give his card and it's swiped, but they'll be sitting like in an angle. In an angle, it's like a brother and sister thing, or whatever it is, because...
Oh, so you friend zone the guy in public?
Yeah, but you never know. It has happened. And it happens.
So
But you guys look at reality, honestly.
Chris, it's what they say. Okay, I want to say this in Nyankore, then I'll put it in Luganda and I'll put it in English. Echostamire nchkosya, which now means in Luganda
That's what you're seated on.
chotulide chijakocha.
And
Sometimes
so-
you see women walk into, you see a woman, you know, in a nice car, Prado, with a man looking fresh. She has done everything she can do to look nice. But you don't know what she's dealing with in the bedroom. You can find, those are the guys, as I was saying last week, you know, it's like, those are the guys who leave skid marks on the boxers. They're the guys who, because they have money, they wear perfume, but they don't wear deodorant. So when the kasana and the kamukuba like this, when the deodorant mixes with the sweat, then it is a mess. You see, you're out there, your husband has money, but you've never been able to convince him to take 2 showers a day.
No, but there's even the convincing, and it's like, what do you want from me?
Yes.
I'm giving you the money.
Yes.
I'm making you look good. So why are you telling me to look this way or to come out like that?
So what
The guy
do
is
you,
taking one
what do
shower
you
a
then
day.
say?
So-
I'm going to get back to you. Stefan.
So I think the only time where we need women for grooming is, let me give you an example of what is called snowball sampling. Snowball sampling.
Snowball sampling.
Snowball sampling. It's a marketing town. You get one smoker, he'll lead you.
Yeah.
So many other different smokers. Like if you impress her, she'll market you.
Are you serious?
But she'll market you to how many people are you trying to sleep with?
to other women, you know, like that guy is legit. He smells good, you know. He dresses nice. He's good upstairs. I think that's the only time we need, you know, we need men for grooming.
Look, guys,
We need women for grooming.
we're going to get into. I really want us to get into.
Are you about to go to
into
break?
the bedroom?
This
no,
is
no, no,
not
no,
your
no,
show.
no, not yet. We'll get to a section I think that we need to talk about, which is about, you know, real hygiene and how it affects relationships of man, woman, love, bedroom type of thing. But so by the way, 18 and over, because we need to talk about this. We need to help some marriages here and relationships. But I want to ask, some must have been about 2 years or so ago, where there was a campaign, and there was some macho guy standing against a guy who was, you know, Cosmo, treats his hair, does makeup and things like that, and men really. Many men did not vote for this person because they felt that he was over-groomed. Is there such a thing as over-grooming?
Yeah.
Well,
There is such a thing as over-grooming. You know, traditionally, you know, men are raised to, you know, the way we're raised. We're raised, we clip our nails, we cut off our hair, we put on almost the same outfits, trousers. Well, women, on the other hand, they grow their hair, they have long nails, they put on flowery clothes. They have been groomed they are groomed for men.
They haven't
We
groomed
are
to put on
groomed
long nails.
to work, you know. We groomed differently.
I disagree. I disagree
Yeah.
with this.
No, let's
with this
it's-
stereotype.
Let
it's
him
the
finish.
truth.
I'm coming to you.
It's the
Yeah,
truth.
go ahead.
Look at the way a woman dresses. The way men, we put on the same outfits. We shave off our hair. We cut off our nails, you know. We're groomed for work. Men on the other hand, you know, women on the other hand, long nails. Long nails, no, not for
everyone.
working.
So what you feel is basically men are wired for work and to be rough
men are
cut
wired,
and that
yeah,
kind
well,
of thing.
traditionally-
So
So
it
we
has
are
been-
wired to impress and look smart and look nice.
That was the thinking back in the day. That was the thinking. Right now, you know, women have been raised, you know, are raised differently. Women are going to work, you know. So I feel like in the 21st century right now, I think men can be groomed. You can groom yourself, but I think there's also over-grooming. This whole thing of,
yeah.
you know, dressing so many colors, for example, you know, visiting the barber shop like every day, being like, you know, like this.
Where he has to pick
Wait,
between his
wait,
hair
yes,
and the drink.
yes.
Guys,
he has
guys,
to
guys,
think.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
Chris, you are the custodian of the show. If you let people on the show mislead the audience, it is your fault.
Yes.
No,
So,
it's his
Okay, his
opinion.
No,
Opinion,
it's not.
maybe.
His opinion
No,
can
speak
be wrong.
about over-grooming. What do you feel about it?
So I think that the evolution of time and the changing nature of work.
True.
I mean, men can't just go around with ashy elbows and rough hands. Just because, I mean, you work every day, you make money, you provide oil for the woman, but you can't take 2 minutes, apply oil to your hands. Why? What crime did you commit that you cannot have soft hands?
Let me ask
So, and
Mary.
I think it's this, the trapping the mind in a
Some mindset.
ATS, African traditional
Yes.
mindset. That's where the issue is.
Let me say.
Because
Let me
there's
ask you
space for
something.
men
Let
to
me
look
ask the
nice,
lady a
smell
question.
nice,
Let me
have
ask the
soft
lady a
hands.
question.
Yeah.
Who would you prefer? A guy who looks nice, you know, well groomed, you know, nice, good looking, you know, with a guy who's, you know, paying the bills, bringing home the cheddar. Like, who do you prefer?
So
But why must-
we need to get into a break.
What?
And when we come back,
No.
Marion is going to
Who would
answer
you
this
prefer?
question.
That is the question that you asked earlier on.
Absolutely. So Marion is going to be answering this question. We're going to take a break. We are here at the Nagru Skies Hotel, and you are watching NTV Men. Peter is not here, and I'm hosting today. I'm enjoying this, and I love this. I love what's going on. So please don't go away. We'll be back right after this break. Welcome back from the break. My name is Chris, and I'm hosting this show today. You are watching Men, and we are talking about grooming. Following on from last week, because there's lots of undone business. Please follow us. Engage in the conversation on Facebook. All our handles of Twitter are on the screen, so please do engage with that. Talking about grooming, before we left from the break, Stefan, you asked a question. You wanted Marion to know. What would be
Who
her
would you-
pick
you know, who would
between
you
a
prefer?
man who is rough cut and all that,
But
has no money,
No,
has money,
has money. He-
and then a woman, a guy who is all overdone,
Well-groomed.
well groomed and all,
So
but
like
is
a-
broke.
is
All right.
broke, yeah.
So slacking, as you would say. So Marion, who would
and
you
there's
pick?
so many.
Slacking or no slacking, there is no way. Just the fact that you have money, that you have to be shabby, or you don't have to be clean. Let me tell you, I thought when you make the money, you also improve on yourself.
Let me tell
Or
you
when
what.
you make the money, you come and say, you know what, honey,
When-
as in you're telling your wife, this is what we need to do. They're like, but you know what? Now that you mentioned it, I think we need to change your closet, or we need to do something about your nails, your hair, whatever. I think, like you said, I'm talking up in the concept of marriage. I think I have the responsibility, no matter whether you have the money or not, to make you look smart as your wife. Because I wouldn't want a shabby man out there, or a dirty or smelly man. And again, take it upon yourself when I'm not there. Let's say I've traveled. When I'm not there, you clean up yourself, go make the money.
Now,
bring
let me
it
say,
back
let me
home.
say, it's not
So do
the
you realize that she's
responsibility.
dodged the question?
No, I
Yeah.
have not judged the question.
You're
you
not,
guys.
The question
you've not
was
said
your
anything.
preference.
My preference, basically, I need a smart, neat man
Broke.
who has Money.
So,
Or who can take care of me?
So listen,
I need to say
it never
something.
works
Not
out
even
like
money,
that.
by the way. Who can take care of
Chris,
me?
All right.
I want to
And
talk
take
about
himself.
some
Okay,
reality.
yes,
But
yes.
you guys.
In the real world, when you leave the world of the slaking,
Yes,
I'm not a snake.
yes, when you leave this
Stefan
world,
is a real slaking.
I'm a
80%
You're being
of men
crucified, yeah.
in this country
Yeah.
shower in a basin.
Okay.
Don't laugh.
no,
I
go on.
see you. I see you.
Hey.
Okay, which basin?
So which basin? Go on.
They shower in a basin or in a bucket. They don't have showers or bathtubs.
70.
The reality is a lot of people don't live in town.
Yeah.
Yes, only 20% of people in this country live, and I
And
dare
even those
you-
who live in town still use the
yes,
basins.
they still use the basin.
They
use
go in with the
outside
bathtub
bathrooms.
with
Yes,
their basin.
Yes. Here's the problem. Now, how to say this delicately? I always say we are not all the same kind of man. God endowed us differently. When you're endowed at a certain size, when you squat on the floor in the basin, your member is in the
In the water.
not in the water. You're not in the bathtub. It can be on the floor.
On the
On the
floor.
floor.
Yes. So we're endowed differently, and I think that's a real challenge to how men bathe. That's why sometimes, occasionally, there are couple conversations of jango onkuto mugongo, because men are just they're just trying to get the shower as quickly as possible and done with. But after 1 week of the guy not, you start seeing the shirts on the chitoji. It's always dirty. It's always dirty on the chitoji.
Chris,
Then you're
yes.
like, you know what? This guy is not scrubbing his back. He's just like a boy.
Yeah.
So you must, I think that there must be a place where you can have that real conversation of,
No, but guys, you know, when you stop to think about it, right from boarding school, for those of us who went to boarding school, you know that time when there was you had to go for porridge or something,
Yes.
and you ran out of time. So what would happen is you have most guys,
shadow bathing.
yeah, shadow bathing. You know, actually air bathing. Like
Do you know what
a
shadow
guy
bathing is?
runs in
No,
the
what's shadow
compound,
bathing?
and he's thinking that stuff is dealt with.
Do you run in common?
Yeah, and then just a little water on the feet and,
or the
and
dew.
you know, and
Were you in Muri or what?
well, a number of schools, okay. But so the grooming, it seems
Destroyed
to
the
me,
Murian, you know?
it seems to me that the boy in the man doesn't die,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it seems to me that boy is brought into an
The
adult life, into the office, into the workplace, into the marriage bed. Do you believe that? I'll start with Marion, and I'll hear from the gentleman.
Marion married?
Do you
Yes.
feel she's married? Do you feel that that boy who just doesn't like hygiene and cleanliness stays in men? Do you feel like he's still there,
Are
and the
women
women need to keep on, you know, beating him down and saying, "Hey, you're a man
Come
already."
on.
You know, do you feel like that boy is still there in men?
There will
That
always
dirty boy.
be a boy
In a man.
in a man. Whether hygiene, whether money, whether food, whether what, there's always be a boy in a man. Let me finish, Stefan. Stop it laughing because you're a boy in a man.
He's a boy in a boy.
Slacking. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that I think, Chris, now describing what you're saying about school and how you guys used to do it, when we got back at home, like in holidays, and I remember when we were going back to school, going back home, they would say, time for bathing after lunch. Or in the evening, when you wake up from sleeping, you have to go and bathe. Now, I grew up knowing that after lunch, you have to bathe and you go and sleep.
Yes.
That is how I grew up. Now, with my cousins and the boys also, every time we'd finish lunch, bathe, sleep, wake up at about 5, 6, homework. Now, if I grew up with that kind of mentality, that there's eating, playing, eating, bathing, resting, and then reading, and then going back to sleep at night, I think a boy like that, growing up to a man, and school and a man, will probably pick that up, yeah? So what am I saying?
So let's be honest about your
what
cousins.
What am I saying?
I know they will kill you for this, but did they really like the showers, or the girls showered and the guys did?
Bambi,
Like,
they did.
let's be honest.
I'm being honest.
With
Some
Chiboko
did, and
or
some
willingly?
did, and some of them were younger than me, so I was doing.
You are the enforcer, so you are still feeling in that part of
here.
women.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that if someone grew up with that kind of mentality, even at school, when they go to school, they'll probably do it. Only that when you get to school, like secondary, whatever, there's that peer.
No,
whatever.
and there's also freedom.
And
There's liberty.
freedom.
You
So
You
can
don't have
say-
to shower if you
but
don't want to
guess
shower.
what?
Yeah.
When you get back home, you're like, because when I get back home, I have to get back to routine of bathing, eating, and whatever, and sleeping. So when you get into that marriage, again, there's what? Liberty, right? Yeah.
But you're
No.
in liberty in someone else's bed.
Yeah, but if I told my husband go and bathe before sleep and says I'll bathe tomorrow, am I going to drag him to the bathroom?
Yeah.
How?
So this is the problem.
We are going to get there, but I still want to check. Is there a boy? Is there a boy in men who just fights hygiene and grooming?
Let me say this, it is not the woman's responsibility to groom a man. If this guy was not groomed by the parents, you explained it. You explained it very well. A kid, we grew up, we knew that, in the morning you had to bathe, and before you sleep, you had to bathe. And that's how you grow. And you bring that to their house. If this guy, if this person is not doing this thing, it's not the woman's responsibility.
Stefan, you must have grown up in an urban area where you don't walk 5 kilometers to fetch water and back.
Yeah, you
Because you must have had a lot of water.
Yeah.
So many of us, even when we are working in town and we're all polished up,
We are conscious.
the village is still inside there.
Yeah, but you bathe from the
And
water place.
so when there was scarce water and you're the one who fetched it, and if you finish it, you're going to go back 5K. Some guys have learned the economy of water and have mastered
And
it.
the bills are
and especially in a place that is very humid, like Kampala, should bathe on a regular basis. And I agree with you. When your husband is not doing this, the woman has to check the guy. Please do this. I've worked in places where there have been interventions where you gather as guys and you're like, we need to tell this guy to bathe. I don't believe there's a boy there's a boy in every man.
So I want
But
to
Colin, please speak into that thing. Boy in every man, and then
I think I definitely think that there's certain, I don't know if it's a boy in everyone, but there's certain habits that we carry from our childhood, from our teenage years into adulthood. But it's only because we can get away with them. You see? And that's why you fight. So thinking about it, having gone to some very traditional single-sex schools, I went to St. Mary's College, Kisubi. I went to Namilyango College. So now that we have grown up, wait, keep quiet. So now that we have grown and we're adults, we've evened out. A lot of these things have gone away.
yeah.
But I can tell you, at the end of our S6, there was a very big difference between us and the boys from, like St. Lawrence. There was a very big difference.
What was the difference?
And we showed up at campus first year. And, we were just like, oh my God, we're free. We can shower once a day. Don't even have to shower. These boys, they would show up. At campus, they had polished shoes. Their trousers were ironed. They just were focused from the get-go. And maybe life evens it out and makes, us guys, certain of us smarter. So it's just kind of like life just balances it out. But I can tell you out of the gate, those guys were ahead of us. And I can tell you straight out of school, if you entered the job with both those guys, they were ahead of you.
St. Lawrence guy would be ahead of you.
Just
Just
because
by appearance.
he was more presentable, but also because he was presentable, he appeared to be more organized. It meant that he planned his time better. He knew that if I have to be at class by 8, I wake up at 6, I shower, I polish my shoes, I iron my trousers, and I get dressed and I go. So it's not just the hygiene and the grooming.
Yeah.
There is the inherent component of planning and organizing yourself. Saying that if I want a haircut a week, I must find time that's outside football, but on the weekend where I can go and get my haircut, so I don't miss my soccer. And I think that they're important sort of principles that fit into that set, the set of for people who are sort of into that lifestyle.
So I want to spin this into a totally different angle. And here's something that I want us to really speak into. Most guys have got a desired look that they would want to have. Never mind By the way, we need to talk about the guys who are stinking, who don't bathe. It's just like, before we even talk about style, this thing about guys who are stinking in office and, you know, like you're 21, you're 29, you're 30 and you still have kavubuka.
You know,
How do we deal with this?
I blame the women.
Actually, they are single.
Their houses they come from. If they are single, I blame where these guys grew up from. Because let me tell you what, you were beaten if you didn't bathe at a certain time. I remember. Let me give you. You know, I'm so good with these true stories. There was a time my mom came back home and I had not bathed, and she told me to remove my clothes and told me, you know what, since you have not bathed, get that. There's something called a kiondo. Kiondo is a basket, you know, made out of sisal. Naked, told me go to the shop like that. And it was around 4 p.m.
How old were you?
I was around 9, but it taught me. I didn't go. I was standing at the gate. I was scared of coming. But it taught me a lesson. You know, it's something that I have to do. It's a routine. I have to bathe. I have to brush my teeth.
You're traumatized into hygiene and grooming.
You know, and that's why I blame where these guys came from. If you come out of their house, even if I smell sweat on me, I feel I cannot even stand next to someone else.
Colin, I'm sure you've had these guys who are like he-goats around you. What do you do? First of all, how do you break the news to your buddy that, dude, you need to bathe, you need to change your underwear, you need to use a deo?
So let me tell you,
how do you break it down?
You guys don't understand. So I want to talk about a real true story.
We're in true story, Alan.
I am 33 now.
All right.
I was wetting my bed until I was 18.
Ooh.
Until I was 18. Every day, I had to wash my bed sheets. Every day, every morning, I had to shower.
That is so true.
I was in boarding school.
So you did this thing till S6?
No, till S6.
Yeah, 18 is S6, man.
S4. We were in the village.
Okay, so that still, even still, S4 is...
What are you? Are you the FBI? So anyway, so what I'm saying is, this is what I know. So I had my own personal hell. Like, I have people today who I cannot talk to. People who I went to school with, because I am afraid that one day some guy is going to come out and say, that guy, you know.
No, but you've said it on TV, yes, so they've lost that power, right?
But you think about it, it has so much power over you.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people have that same problem. You think about, you say, but I smell. Then you get a deodorant, but you don't want to invest in a good deodorant. So you get some thing, whatever you can find for 5K. It doesn't work. Or because you haven't gotten the right information, someone tells you, get a perfume. They say, get a strong one. Then you add, but when the sweat combines with the perfume, so I think that some of these things are about information. And you get over it by practice. It doesn't change in a day, it doesn't change in a month, but you must practice it regularly. You must understand that if you don't shave your armpits and you apply deodorant, the whole stench just gets there and combines.
But Colin, how do you break the news to this colleague at work?
Yeah.
Who everybody knows stinks like a he-goat, but no one is breaking the news, and they are the only one who are.
You guys,
so how do you break it down?
You're not anyone's mother.
Yeah, me have broken it.
You're not anyone's mother. So there are two approaches. There is the way guys do it, where a guy waits when everyone is in the room, and then he throws you a bomb, and then no one can laugh, but everyone is laughing inside. Then you're like, oh shucks, I've been bombed, which is terrible and can cause self-esteem issues for people. And they'll never talk to you again. They might resign the job. They might commit suicide. I mean, those things happen. They happen. Teasing and bullying happen.
Yeah,
but option 2 is a tough love, man-to-man conversation. Find a guy in the bathroom. You lock the bathroom. You're like, dude, we need to talk about this. This is an issue. It's an issue not for you because you may not be smelling yourself, but it's an issue for us, guys who work with you. But it's also an issue for the women you work with. But finally, because no one is telling you, or if people are telling you you're not doing anything about it, we are being seen, you're making us look bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's when people talk about friendships, like proper male friendships, that's what it's about. It's about looking out for each other. saying, dude, man, we went into this thing and you took off your shoes, and the office just became like a whole pungent thing.
Let me tell you something.
And you're like, dude,
Chris,
why don't you wash your socks? Like,
Chris,
you know, I like to take off my feet in the afternoon so I can stretch my toes. But every time he does that, the office starts emptying.
Everyone goes for
Yeah,
field work.
Right. You know, I think it boils down to parents. Boils down to parents not grooming kids, not, you know, insisting that you need to do. Because I've lived with different people in campus. I've had different housemates, and I've seen some of the weirdest things. You know, you realize that this guy is not actually grow in the same environments with you. For example, this guy used to bathe every day using his hands. He never used to use a sponge. Only his hands.
What?
And I never understood
people
it.
still do that.
To him, it's very normal.
Wow.
It was very normal. He would do that on a regular basis, and I'll tell him, this is so weird. He's a guy who take the shoes and wash them in the sink
Where you're washing cups.
No.
where you wash caps and whatnot. It all boils down to parents not instilling some of his values in the kids.
So look, we need to take a break right now. And when we come back, we are going to be shifting this conversation. But I hope you're not that guy who, when people are going in a lift and you leave them there, and someone else walks in, they're apologizing for what you have left. Please don't be leaving the stinker bombs. Please groom yourself. We are going to take a break right now. You are watching Men on NTV, and we are here at the Naguru Skies Hotel having a very good conversation. Please do join us right after the break. Welcome back from the break. My name is Chris, and I'm sitting in for Peter hosting this show, NTV Men. We're having a lot of fun. So if you just tuned in, you missed quite a lot, but there's still a lot that's coming in the last segment. We are here with Marion and the guys talking about grooming. And there's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. We've talked about. There's still so much more we need to talk about. This particular subject actually can go on for a year. But I just would like to talk about, for us to talk about real quick about this thing. Some ladies call it towel showering.
Towel wash.
Towel wash.
Towel wash.
There's some vital parts. You
They
know,
only
like
wash the vital parts.
shadow bathing. Who invented this thing, and why do people still do it?
Single schools.
Single
schools.
You just touch up a little bit.
Single
Sometimes
schools.
you don't even go anywhere down there, and off you go. So where did that stuff come? This towel sharing, and I'm told even girls do it.
It's only girls who do it.
I don't know.
But Stefan was whispering single schools.
So tell us about it.
Single schools.
Have you?
The men's name single schools, also the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
Single schools,
If
you went to any single school, you know
does this happen? I mean, men would want to know,
yes,
really.
no,
Do
it
ladies
happens.
also do this stuff of vital shower, like shadow shower, critical parts, and then they move on?
Yeah, especially when you get to deal with, when I was working with Mama's Club Uganda, we were dealing with teenagers, and they would tell us that, especially when they are going to the gardens, and these were grassroots women, they would say, for us, because we are waking up very early, one, it is very cold, we have to go to the garden, either harvest or plant or whatever. I wash my face, get a towel, clean my armpits, get a towel, clean my private parts, or wash, then off. There you go.
So, and then they use that towel in the evening?
Towel wash, they can either use those small towels.
They carry
put it
them in
that
their
your face.
purses, eh?
Oh, no, this is a person in the garden. I'm talking about the garden, not about the modern girls. I'm talking
You're
about the girls I
slacking.
used to deal
So
with.
they use
But
like
why
leaves
why
or
are you asking questions like you've experienced these girls before? So what
So when he
happens-
says leaves, I hope he's joking.
yeah, that's what I'm
No.
talking about.
She's saying that, you keep, referencing, that the city, and you say that, these are girls from the village.
No. These are the ones we met. I'm telling what they used to experience, and this is really teenage
Yeah, so it's
mothers.
cold, they just use a towel,
they
armpits,
just do that and then
groin
they run.
area, and then run
when
to the
they
garden.
come back at about 4, depending on where the garden is, that's when they do the real bathing. So when they bathe at 4, guess when they're going to bathe again?
So I think it's great to talk about stuff, but sometimes it's important for us to just take one step back and understand where is it from, where do these things come
Exactly.
from? Because of the access to water. Like, it's a national
Yeah.
thing. And I think that when you live in Kampala, sometimes you're not cognizant of the issues that people go through.
Chris,
So in reality, people walk 5-10 kilometers to fetch water. That's the reality of a lot of people across the country.
Some bathe from
And
there.
sometimes you leave the village, you come to Kampala, and you have to walk 10 meters to go to a pump, a tap, you collect water, you buy a 50 shilling jerrycan of water, you come back. But because you've spent 25 years in this water economy scarcity mindset, it's not so easy to sort of change how you think. And we have to know that. You are talking
And
about
sometimes
broke
people
guys and
Yeah.
slakings. It's that. It's
And sometimes people live in places where the showers are outside.
Yeah.
And if you need to leave very early and you're a lady or a guy and you're not sure about what the environment is like, you can't go around with that kataulo that the Kaliso
And
guy,
your
Kaliso
best-
guys say.
No, let me tell you.
so,
And now the showers also shake.
So-
It's nothing
so-
to do with water accessibility. I've been in the village. I've been in the village before, and I've.
But your village might be in
Let me say this.
Seguku.
And during the day, you know, when it reached nightfall, it was really dark. So you had to bathe by around 4, 5, 6. Well, you know, there's a lake. You'd go and fetch, but there was that habit. You bathe in the morning, and you bathe in the evening. And that was the habit.
So
no.
Stefan,
Nothing to do with
for you,
accessibility. of water.
you don't
it's
think
all
that's what
it's
it's
all
talking
down
about.
to parenting.
It's
And-
all
and-
down to habits.
Really, even the,
Bad
even,
habits.
even the children in the village, even the people in the
I
village.
say,
like,
yeah. Live in
Before
a
we run
village.
out of time, I'm going to switch this. Listen, there is a bit of a problem concerning grooming that I have noticed. Recently, I was with a friend of mine, and we were going for an event, and he was going to play an important role at the event. I won't say what. But,
But we know.
but we know what. But he was going to play an important role at the event. And so he reaches out in his wardrobe and, you know, picks stuff that he thinks makes him look smart and presentable. And he shows up at the event. His wife had gone before him, and she's petrified. She almost collapsed. She's like, what is this? How did you come out of the house like this? So she wants to go back and get clothes, like, so that he can change and dress properly. Of course, it was a distance. She couldn't go. I want to speak to you guys. Do you feel like men get a problem sometimes of having a certain style they prefer, and their wives having a totally different opinion of what her man should look like in public, and therefore
Yes.
there is a clash on grooming and the idea of grooming? Let me
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
from
yeah,
you, Stefan.
yeah. You know, I'll give you an example of that. I wear specific shirts. If you look at my Instagram page, if you look at my Facebook pictures, you notice that I have same shirts. And how my woman deals with it is that, you know, I'll come back home one time and they're nowhere to be seen.
They've all been socked.
Somehow they just disappear. You just find out like, hey, what happened to my red shirt? It just
That
disappeared.
correct shirt of Monday.
So this is what I think. I think that sometimes as men we get so caught up in this search for money working that you forget the details. Now the advantage, this is not a responsibility. It's an advantage and is an opportunity for a partner to help you sort of augment that part of your life. It's not her job to know what you should look like. Her job is to make sure that when you step out of the house, you're representing the household the best way possible. Which is why also sometimes, you know, some guys you say, madam, you don't go and buy for her a dress, but you give her some money. You say, you know, I thought maybe you might need a new dress. We're going to Chris's wedding next month. I thought maybe Otungiseyo something, because you want your wife to also. If all the pictures show up and she's in always one of two dresses, you're just like, this is not pleasant. Do that.
Marion, you know, especially in the space of marriage, you know, people at the altar vow, you know, all I have I give to you, my body is yours and all that. And then when you're trying to style up the guy whose body is yours, they are rioting. How do you deal with that?
I've been fortunate that my husband gets to ask me, how do I look? When he's going for something or he's going for a meeting. Or the other times when he's like, it's a Friday. Can I put on jeans? Or, okay, would I look nice in this shirt? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. But what I'm saying is that I give him the platform to ask, yeah, whether he looks smart or he needs to change. or when he has dressed up, I'll say, oh, that's nice, you look good.
So what do your
So,
friends who are ladies
now-
do with the men who are disasters? Like, you know, if they do nothing, the guy is going to walk out, he's a moving disaster.
I have
How do
been
they
there.
deal with that?
Interestingly, I've been with friends who are like, Marion, at least your man listens to you. For us, even arrange for them what they're going to put on that day.
He'll
Because
not wear.
he'll not wear it. You wake up in the morning and dress up and go. Then you're like, hey, but I left for you something nice, which you actually asked me the other night about that you want to put on, and you didn't put it on. Why did you waste my time? Then she comes and says, do you know what? I think I am done dressing that guy. Because even when I try, he doesn't do it.
So do
And
the women take offense then?
yeah, they do. Because remember, this one you've asked and said, can I put on this for tomorrow? And she says, no, I think you put on this. I said, oh, yeah, that's nice. You go to sleep. In the morning, you change.
You wakes up and wears the same thing, which he had said. See, this is why men are like boys. It's just that mputu. You know, it's just the thick obusiru is just in there. You make someone wake up early. They iron your clothes.
Thank you.
They do
Meanwhile,
what,
you leave the clothes the night before for you to iron. You
Yes.
understand?
Then
Yeah. But, and
after
there are
that,
women who are
after
really
someone has done all of
frustrated.
that,
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
leave
like,
it there.
No,
Yes.
no, then you ask. You ask me in the middle of the day, you give me a call, and I have a different mood. I mean, that's what is wrong with you. Is anything wrong at work and everything? Then I'm like, no, we shall talk about when you come home. Then when you come home, I tell you, but you know what? Last night, you told me you want to put on ABCD. I woke up very early and ironed it. Oh, I even ironed it before we went to sleep. Then you wake up in the morning and leave everything there. I've set it up, and then you go. Then you come back in the evening. Oh, by the way, what I wanted to put on, no, please get me the other. Then you iron. Then they leave it. Then definitely it frustrates.
this is the kind.
So when it
this is why
frustrates,
people end up
guess what happens?
urinating in your food, and you don't know why.
Colin, you
I actually saw that. I saw that thing
and when they're
yesterday
frustrated,
somewhere.
guess
no?
what happens?
Jeez.
Tomorrow she's going to leave you go the way you want. She's going to leave you, not even if you don't put on the deodorant, yeah? She'll let you go. Even if your boxers are dirty, which you always put on, leave there, throw there,
So since
whatever,
we,
she'll
Marion,
leave you.
since we have a woman on the show, I'm going to shoot at you two quick
Why are
questions.
you pushing me?
No, because we're talking about grooming and men. Stefan spoke about his favorite clothes, coming back and not finding them. I've had so many guys go back home and say, look, all my favorite clothes have been soaked. They've been soaked for the whole week. I can't put on my favorite thing going, you know. So here's the thing. What would you advise women who do that? Like, I mean, must you soak the guy's clothes for him to put on
No.
what you want?
No, because I think if you start doing that, one, you're pushing him away. Yeah? You're pushing him away in terms of communication and appearance and everything. I
This
think
is communication.
It's a message.
It's a message. It's telling
yeah.
you get
and then
free.
and then also I think it's something that we're supposed to talk about. Like imagine Stefan says you put on red tomorrow, blue tomorrow, and you know your shirts, you know your arrangement. But if I like you said, again, coming to the responsibility bit, if I am responsible for how you look at certain point, allow me, or I suggest that, you know what, because you've been putting on t-shirts the whole of this week, can we have shirts? Also, depending on what that man is doing, if you're an engineer, if you're whatever, and it is t-shirts, it's workshops, it's everything,
Marion, let me tell you what.
whatever it is. But
You
what
will
I'm
be
trying
so
to say
surprised.
is that there's a communication issue, because I don't, it's really, really bad that I know that you always dress in suits, and I go and get your suits and soak them. What am I sending out a message that I'm tired of the way you're looking?
Yes,
Yeah?
absolutely, and
I'm tired of the way
that's
you're
that's
looking.
not an uncommon thing.
Yes. So if I am tired of the way you're looking, why should I say it by acting and soaking your clothes? Why should I come and tell you? Yeah?
Ladies, I hope you are hearing this wise woman. Please don't soak the man's clothes. Look, it's round about
just
that time where we have
communication,
to
really.
have our parting shots.
Yes.
And I would like us to wrap this up. There's a
What
lot that we've
hygiene?
talked about. There's a lot that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about what ladies, react like with a guy who doesn't shower
Parting shot.
in the bedroom and things like that. Maybe it will be in Marion's parting shot. But let's close this
Let
off.
me
Stefan,
start
your parting shot.
with what you just mentioned right now. I think it's conscious. You should have some conscience in you if you have a partner and you live in the same house, you share the same bed, to bathe, to shave, manscaping. I've talked about manscaping in different shows. That there's nothing wrong with shaving down there. Shave. And I said early on, you discover that the reason why your wife is not doing certain things to you is because the way you smell, the way you behave. Communication is key. Communication is very important. And instead, like you said, instead of, you know, doing a disappearing thing, for, you know, with all my shots, I'm dressing someone. You know, tell me and suggest to me that, you know, this thing will actually look good for you. Will look good with you. Another thing I want to talk about is over-grooming. Over-grooming. There's a picture that was making rounds, I think, 2 months ago of these billionaires that attended this African...
Dangote's daughter's wedding.
Yeah, Dangote's daughter's wedding. And there was one thing that was synonymous with these guys.
Standing out, yeah.
They were clean-shaven, they looked nice. What am I gravitating towards? Men who spend a lot of time on grooming forget other things. There is the standard grooming. Shave your hair, bathe every day, put on deodorant, and go to work.
All right, there you go. There are the 5 things are finally out.
Finally out.
Colin, your party shot.
I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? What have we learned from last week's show, which didn't have Marion and didn't have Stefan, and now we don't have Peter and we don't have Banji? What have we learned? One, I think that it's important to take care of. It's not just the point of hygiene and grooming isn't just about what people see. So if you shower twice because you think people at office are going to think you smell, I think that you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's important for you to understand that those things, that being clean extends your life, that it improves your peace of mind, that having a clean breath, cleaning your teeth regularly isn't about how you're going to kiss your wife and you have a smelly mouth. It's about your teeth not falling out when you're 40. I think that those are the things that you won't give people infections because you can't clean yourself after doing number 1 or number 2. So I think that it's important to understand that it's for your own health. 2, that children imitate how you behave. If children grow up in a household where you shower once a day, everyone is going to shower once a day because that's the household sort of thing. It's true, yes, water bills are expensive, but you have to sort of create a culture where these things are sort of a mainstay and they're common practice, I think, absolutely. So it's not just about you now, it's about the people who look up to you. So if you're the boss and all your interns and the people who work under you see you, that they know that guy on Friday, he never showers because he always goes out on Thursday night till late. He always comes back on Friday smelling alcohol. That becomes sort of like the culture and the practice. And then finally, I think that the amount of time you put into, we live in a very finite amount of time. Every day is 24 hours. You don't have 2 hours to groom every morning. You have to sleep, you have to rest, you have to make money, you don't have the time. So I think it's important for you to work out a system that's efficient. How do I make sure that my beard is clean, my armpits don't smell, my clothes are right, they are ironed, they are not wrinkled, I look presentable, and then I am out to go and conquer the day. I think that finding an efficient system is an important part of that grooming story. Now, it doesn't matter whether, as we're saying, you have an outside bathroom and you have to go in a towel and a basin. You can find a way of making that process as efficient and as fast as possible. And also, don't forget, the simple things matter. A little oil on your elbows or on your hands is good. Otherwise, there are guys who you've never seen them in shorts. Because the day guy pulls up his legs like this, it's like a spider web on his legs. Because he has never oiled his legs.
Yeah.
Right. Marion.
Taking it from the topic of the day, saying that hygiene on men and women's perspective. Yes, it will be the responsibility of a woman at some extent to make sure the man looks good and is clean. But the men out there, you have a big responsibility also on your outlook. Really, it is simple. When you have drunk the whole week, or you have been drinking, or you come back home, at least brush your teeth. At least, at most, if you don't want to bathe.
You're drunk.
What do you mean you're drunk?
Yeah,
you remember to go and pee.
Hey,
so
party shot. Let the lady speak,
I know,
man.
right? I know, right? Okay. In your drunkenness, remember at least to brush your teeth, or do the towel.
Towel shower.
Towel shower. Oh, and then your boxers that you throw everywhere here. I know I'm speaking to a man out there. I know. Throw your boxers, 1, 2, 3. Now, the lady, or socks, yes. The lady has to get up, pick, put in the bucket. Now, even putting in the bucket, you have to wait for me to go and soak them. Then when you don't, my
well, that's
short.
something, wow.
Then when
Women
they have
don't wash
finished,
their guys'
when they
boxers.
have finished soaking, I'm telling you, I'm speaking to a woman and a man out there. They have done for you to soaking. Guess what? You're going to put on the other one which they didn't soak, which you are putting on. The other ones, until you think the others are going to be washed. You repeat. Hey, these are not getting out of that water.
UCC is coming to shut us down.
It's okay. And then from there, you say, hey, this chick is not washing my what? My boxers.
God.
You go and wash them. After washing them, you come back. No ironing, nothing. You leave them in the ironing thing. You wait. What I'm trying to say that I can do that as your wife, but don't make it a habit. Because you can't do it.
It is not the responsibility of a
I'm
wife
not
to
saying
wash
that.
Look,
a guy's boxers.
we have run out of time.
Yes, Chris, let me finish. All I'm saying, can we make an effort to be clean as men? So that us women can appreciate that you have put that effort. Yeah? I don't want to even go to circumcise and uncircumcise people.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
something.
my
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm talking about?
I get it.
There are those who hate circumcision, but wash the force,
Wash it, yeah.
Clean it. And if you
It's true.
circumcise, yes, you're still circumcised, bathe. Don't say, because I'm circumcised, there's no infection, blah, blah. Please, bathe. Men don't like, some men don't like bathing. You don't like bathing.
There's
The
so
men
much
out
empty
there,
now.
you're listening to me. The ladies out there, please
Oh
make
my
health
God.
and hygiene
A priority.
a priority. Thank you, Chris.
Well, I don't know how to close this.
On behalf of Peter.
Well, this has been quite a show. Men and grooming and the ladies' perspective. Well, you had the ladies. There's a lot coming out for us as guys, and we really need to think about it. I know some guys who actually go as far as have lice down there. Look,
Oh,
guys,
my
let's just do this grooming thing.
Yeah.
Let's make it good for, like Colin said, for our spouses, our children, because they're learning from us, so that we can raise a better generation and not have he-goats in the streets and in the offices in the next years. So thank you so much for listening in. It's been Chris hosting on behalf of Peter and all the guys here and Marion. Have a very good evening.
Yes, I am. I'm the man.